Happy Father's Day, everyone, and happy World Cup to all who celebrate. A nice, relaxed Sunday afternoon show for myself, David Gass, and Michele Giannone. We had said for months leading into this World Cup, and we had said throughout the World Cup, every single day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we are live right here talking about the World Cup. And of course, the show goes up as a podcast and sits on YouTube for you to watch it on demand. And there are very few powers in the world that could throw us off that schedule for any reason. And one of them, it turns out, is the Metro North. So it's not a big deal. We're about 5 minutes late on this one. I'll tell you this, Michele, as a lifelong Long Islander, LIRR would never do that to us.
Seriously?
No,
I didn't see Metro North going on strike last month. So
listen, workers' rights in here. AFL-CIO right there.
Listen.
Let's go, Connor.
Listen, this is the first time that Metro North has let me down, and it was just 10 minutes late. Yeah. It's fine. We made it.
Yeah,
we made it. We're here.
I appreciate you hustling in for us.
Sunday Fun Day. Happy Father's Day. I'm a dog dad, so I don't know if that counts. People get very... There's people that get offended when you say you're a dog dad or a dog parent or mom.
I'm glad that I'm in New York for this because the guy at the bodega wished me a happy Father's Day. And then I told him, I'm not a father. And he said, okay, well, and then he wished it to me a second time. Because when we were in Miami, Mother's Day, everyone said it to my wife. And we don't have children. And we kept telling people we didn't.
It's courtesy.
And they were so uncomfortable about it. And I was like, oh, okay, right. We're in Miami. Everything operates on one track, and there's no other options of ways to build life. But it is a beautiful day. I'm going to go watch the Spain-Saudi Arabia game with my dad, which I'm very excited about. It's a World Cup year, so it's the best thing to do. And there are 4 more games coming up later today. We had a long day of games yesterday, some phenomenal games. I think Germany, Ivory Coast, for me, is already up there as one of the best of the tournament. Some wild results, obviously. This group with Japan and Netherlands just pours in goals, so you know you're going to get them every time these teams play. And, of course, the history that Eloy Room and Curaçao put on the board. So we're going to run through all of that. We'll get you previewed for the day. If you're watching, you see the games on the bottom. We've got that Group H action with Uruguay taking on Cape Verde later and Spain playing Saudi Arabia. And then, of course, the Belgium, Iran, New Zealand, Egypt group, which is a group where every team is tied exactly across the board, 2 1-1 games to open things up. So we're going to learn a lot more about what the fates of these teams look like. So we got a lot to talk about, a lot to dig into. But to start, we're going to go to your favorite segment. We have a little bit of buy or sell that we're going to be doing. This is our North American soccer segment presented by soccer.com. Visit soccer.com for the widest selection of U.S. national team and player jerseys. Free shipping on orders over $49. Now, I also will remind you, there's plenty of other stuff on soccer.com. So I've got my Senegal warm-up top. I've got a France number 10 t-shirt that I got. I'm wearing this Haiti t-shirt that they made as well. They've got one for pretty much every country. So if you don't want to spend more, or if there's gear that you're like, I would love to support Cape Verde and what they've done, you can go and get the t-shirts. You can go and get these types of things. I got a Sweden one right here.
Hats, too. Scarves.
Yeah, I like when teams lose by 5-1 and win 5-1. So I picked this one up. A little bit of ABBA energy in there. So plenty of stuff to go there and get more than just your jerseys, but it's also the number one source for your jerseys. And we're going to talk all 3 North American teams?
Yes.
Hit me.
Okay, you're ready. Which one do you want first? Which country? You're going to pick Canada. I know you're going to pick Canada.
Okay, let's start with Mexico then.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mexico.
Okay. These are statements that I'm going to give you. You're going to buy or sell it and give me an explanation of why you made your choice.
Okay.
Mexico. Estadio Azteca, Mexico City Stadium or Mexico City Estadio Ciudad de Mexico, whatever. Banorte. Will be a magical place for El Tri, and they will win both games, meaning round of 32 and round of 16, which will be England, and make quarterfinals.
Bye. I'm all in.
swear that I thought you were gonna sell that so hard.
And normally I would. Right now I'm caught up in a little bit of the host magic. I am feeling the flow and the momentum and the energy.
Estadio Azteca.
I talked to someone yesterday who was at the opener when they threw the sombreros at the opener. I didn't realize that was supposed to be like a card stunt. So the sombreros all had different colors, and everyone was supposed to like put them on and move in a certain way, and you were going to see it. In the
people
whole
decided
crowd.
to
and people
throw
threw
them,
it, which was better.
Yeah.
It was so much cooler.
Yeah.
Also, I was told everyone was there on time. I was told the stadium was filled 30 plus minutes before the game. And if that miracle can occur, if Mexico City fans can get to the Azteca on time, then the wins can occur. Listen.
And it's not about the fans. For people that don't know Mexico City, it's probably the worst traffic in the planet.
And the Azteca is
It's
900 miles from anything, and there's
It's
only
very
one
far.
way to get in, and there's no public transit. It is one of the hardest places to get
There
to.
is public transit, but it's not great.
Yeah. I think this team knows who they are.
Yes.
And that's where I think for the knockout rounds helps them. They are not going to overextend themselves. I think they actually probably get better at home against teams who have not played in this environment before, who feel the need to come out and play and come out and create the game against them. And that's where Raul Jimenez in transition playing off him, Julian Quinones in transition, I would hope Alexis Vega or someone else instead of Alvarado or Chino Huerta, whoever it is, in transition. I think that's where those players can thrive. There's some changes that clearly need to be made. We're going to learn a bit. Obviously, this Mexico team's already qualified, but Cesar Montes coming back in, where does Edson Alvarez fall? There's some moves to be made, but I think this is a Mexico team that is built for a tournament run, even though they're not playing at the highest peaks that this national team has played at over the last 20 years.
I agree. I fully agree. And I think, like you said, with Cesar Montes coming back, I think they're going to switch to
Five in the back.
a five in the back with Edson, Montes, and Johan Vasquez. Obviously, you have Gallardo that plays that position of a left back, left wing back in Toluca.
And in theory, Jorge Sanchez can play as a
can
wing
do
back.
that. Or Alvarado. We saw Alvarado, but if you want to be more defensive,
Huerta.
Chino Huerta? I don't think Chino Huerta has those defensive capabilities. And you have up top Julian Quinones and Raul Jimenez. I don't think you're losing anything there. So I think it's going to be... Estadio Azteca will be a magical place.
So we've got Mexico already into the quarterfinals of the World Cup. That game would be in Miami for them, which would be a little bit fascinating as well. Take me to my next team.
Canada.
Okay.
Jonathan David, today with 3 goals, will keep the lead and finish with more goals than Flo Balogun.
I will buy that because I think Jonathan David will play and start a larger amount of minutes in the third group stage game. And then the way I have it gamed out right now, and I think we'll take a look at the bracket, they play Austria. If they win or they tie, they get the result they need. They play Austria or Algeria in the next round, which are both matchups I really like. I also think they're both open matchups with goals in them. I think Flo Balogun probably doesn't play the bulk of the minutes in the third group stage game. Then you go into, I think, a tougher set of knockout games for the U.S. Doesn't mean he won't perform well, but I think there's more soft goals in there for Jonathan David. Plus, he would probably take penalties. So I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna say Johnny David finishes on 6 goals for the World Cup.
Nice. So he's
halfway there.
Double what he has right now.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Also, I saw Voyageurs. They're printing out number 8s. For Ismail Kone, for everyone to hold up. You got to go to a bar in Vancouver to pick them up or print out your own and bring them. But I think it will be a pretty cool moment.
Okay. Last but not least. That's how you say it? Okay. USA. After the World Cup, over 1.5 players, meaning at least 2, will move to bigger clubs. And if you buy it, give me names.
Whew. And it has to be like this summer.
Yeah, just after the World Cup, catching all this magical moment.
Yeah. Well, because my assumption is Alex Freeman's probably not going to end up being long for Villarreal, but I don't think
right
it'll
after
be
the
this
World
summer.
Cup.
Yeah.
Like after Qatar, we saw Christian Pulisic moving to AC Milan. We saw Yunus Musa moving to AC Milan.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. I'll easily say over. there's a
Easily.
there's a pretty good chance that I don't know who most of them are. Here's the two that I feel safe in saying.
Let's take a guess.
Chris Richards and Ricardo Pepi.
I was going to say Richards would have been one of mine.
I think Richards will be on a serious Champions League team at the start of the season, and we already know the reports. It depends on what you consider better, but it seems like Pepe's probably going to England, right? The Fulham connections and all of that. So those two seem obvious to me. And if I think there's two guaranteed, my guess is there'll be ones I don't know about, whether it's a Tyler Adams, whether it's someone off the bench, maybe it's Sebastian Berhalter, So I think there's probably a move or two in there that I don't anticipate. And my guess, and I feel fairly comfortable on one or two. So I feel safe in saying over on that one.
Nice. So 3 buys.
Yeah.
You're very positive today.
I am.
I like it.
I feel good. Why should we not feel good? All
I don't
three
know.
hosts are sitting in first place in their groups.
I didn't think you were going to buy me the Mexico one.
Nah.
After I said England. But
I was with a Mexico fan yesterday, and they were like, oh, you're going to root for Mexico? Because I was like, I think it was when I was talking about Ecuador, I was like, oh, I kind of was hoping Ecuador would win because I think they have a shot to go further in the tournament. And Curaçao, unfortunately, because of the result against Germany, had already sorry, Curaçao, you kind of had already put yourself in a bad spot on this one. And they were like, oh, you don't just root for the U.S. I was like, I root for the U.S. and then I root for all the underdogs. I would always want a new team to win the World Cup. And then someone said, like, Mexico. And I said, except for that.
I know.
I would love for them
Hurts
not
me.
to win the World Cup. Let's take a quick look at this bracket as we're talking about it. And actually, Derek, if you want to throw me up, I do actually have... if you throw on my laptop here, I do actually have some of the anticipated knockout round games. It was a good call, Derek, and I made the mistake, so I apologize for that one. It's Sunday, don't worry about it. So this is where things stand right now. This is the BBC
This
predictor.
is if FIFA says right now the tournament it's group stage is done. We're gonna start round of 32 right now. This is the way that it will start.
Which it's not even close to that. And I do get a little frustrated when people keep talking about the U.S. playing New Zealand in a round of 16 because that's clearly not going to happen. But some of the teams we talked about, they do already have their spots in here. Some of the teams that have played 2 times. I mean, Mexico is hoping for someone to perform at a higher level. I had Spain, Portugal facing off, I think, in the round of 16 now.
Yeah.
With the bracket that I put together, I used the Guardian as well. So this was
fun.
This is one that I created. If it makes you feel better or worse. It has France, Germany in the round of 16, the way this is going. It has Netherlands, Morocco in the round of 32, Portugal, Croatia in the round of 32 as well. And I still think Belgium wins their group and ends up towards the top of that one. This one has Canada in a quadrant where Canada would play Austria as a third place team and then would face the winner of Colombia against Ghana. So this is sort of how I gamed it out. The big one that I took the risk on here still is I still have Senegal beating Norway tomorrow and then finishing second in the group.
Okay.
Norway beat Iraq, which is great, but they beat Iraq. If Senegal wins that game head-to-head, now France plays Norway on the final day. Now, if France wins, France maybe has nothing to play for, but still. So that's the one that I kind of was like, oh, I'm still going to hold to this take on this one because I had Senegal finishing above Norway originally coming into the World Cup. And if that's the case, this is a tough game. The flip side is it's England, Senegal for the second straight World Cup because I think that was the round of 16 game last World Cup in Qatar that England ended up winning 3-1. So either way, it's going to be a pretty tough matchup. I think one of the things we are seeing is just how hard this is going to be. Okay, let's take a look now at what we saw yesterday. We go into the Netherlands versus Sweden game, which got us started on the day. This was, of course, a Sweden team that won 5-1 in their opening game. So things are flying. Things are easy. This is like history on so many different levels. The funniest part about it is, so it's the first team in World Cup history. Let me make sure I read this correctly. Sweden are the first side to win their first game by 4+ goals and then lose their second game by 4+ goals at a FIFA World Cup tournament since Sweden in 1938. What are the freaking odds that Sweden is the only team in the world that has done this and they've done it twice? It is obviously a large stretch between the two, but that is a crazy stat. And the Dutch had not played a UEFA team in a World Cup since Spain in the 2010 World Cup final, in the 2014 game when they beat them 5-1. And now they come back and they win 5-1. Huge question marks about the Dutch coming into this one. Sweden, who was the worst team in qualifying, there was some confidence around them, and the Dutch just came out flying.
Yeah, and I really like what Ronald Koeman did with his starting lineup, putting a true number 9 as a forward with Brabi, and he ended up scoring 2 goals because that helped both Gapko and Malen play their positions. In the first game, we saw Malen playing as a center forward, but he's not a 9. He's used sometimes in his club, Roma.
Yeah.
Terrible club, by the way. Terrible club. I'm kidding.
Leading scorer in Serie A from that position for that club, though?
Yeah, let's not talk Roma. I don't know why I brought that up. And that also gave a lot of freedom and to the midfield. Like Frankie de Jong had a great game.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Frankie de Jong play this well, both with the national team and Barcelona, in a long time. And we saw Frankie de Jong more of what he was at Ajax, like kind of like a true number 10.
Yeah.
And like progressing the ball, not just like that Barcelona style where he's playing with somebody right next to him and it's just like short passes.
Yeah.
Here, Pedri, hey, take the ball. Gavi, take the ball. Here, he took over midfield and he was the ball progressor. He was the one trying the break line passes. I really love what I saw about the Netherlands, and everything switched with just one. Everything changed with just one switch up top.
The thing that De Jong broke out at Ajax with was he breaks lines with his dribbling from a central position, right? He was the player who, more than any player on the planet, was willing to take guys on the half turn when he was open and exposed in dangerous places. And he dribbled at players like a winger from a central position. And that was the thing that made him different from everyone else and made him a Barcelona player. And obviously, as you said, Barcelona doesn't require that because there's so much technical quality and because you can create and knock it around and find openings in different places. I agree with you on the moves they made. I do find it interesting that Somerville gets dropped, though, because I thought he was the best player for the team. And that's where I think him and Malen are fighting for that extra spot, because clearly the team needs the setup the way it was yesterday. But I just think from individual talent. And then let's talk Cody Gakpo. 5 goals now in the group stage in his career. Ties Robin van Persie for most for a Dutch player. We saw what he did at the last Euros as well. He is world-class when he's locked in. He is not locked in week to week at Liverpool, and that's the frustration for Liverpool fans. But when you see him do the things he does, which is ball striking, ability to take guys 1v1, and reading on the far post to be a second forward and a finisher, he's elite. And he is following the Memphis Depay trail of like, okay, I'll lock in once a month, once every 6 weeks, every 2 years, and everyone's going to see it on the biggest stage, and it feels like that's the case again.
Yeah, and also when you have that companion on the right side as Dumfries, that he's obviously it's a different setup, but this Netherlands team when Dumfries can go on the right side and play basically like what Serginho Dest plays on the USMNT.
Yep.
And Mickey Van Dien, who's playing as a left back, but he's really a center back. He's more of a natural center back. So he stays. Yeah. So the Netherlands stays in possession with 3 center backs, and Dumfries has all the space. Yeah. And Dumfries another player, because I watch Serie A lot. When he's locked in, he's the best on the field for Inter Milan.
Right. Yeah.
But he's below average defending. So this setup, I think, helps both Gapko and Dumfries, because they don't have to worry much at defending, but that also puts more pressure on the midfield, and all the midfielders were great. Rangers on this team, it's also asked to sacrifice a little bit and cover for Gapko. So this is we're talking what's the nickname that historically the orange clockwork, right? Yeah. This team works best when everything is running smooth. When everything is not running smooth, we've seen the ups and downs, right? Yeah. So the Netherlands is an interesting team because you exactly don't know what to expect, but when Gapko, Dumfries, De Jong are on, this team is world class. World class.
Yeah. On the flip side for Sweden, 5-1 win, 5-1 loss. So now they're at 3 points on a neutral goal differential. they went from this is a shoe-in to make the next round to a very real possibility that they do not get out of the group stage. If they lose their final game, they would have a negative goal differential, and they would have 3 points. So we don't totally know yet what the third-place teams will look like. It'll be 8 of 12 that will get through. 3 points is going to be the line. 3 points and a negative 1 goal differential, it's going to be tight. And so for this Sweden team, they basically lost all the work that they had put in. It was a bizarre game. I thought they were good for 45 minutes off and on throughout this game. They hit the back of the net to try and make it 2-1. They thought they did. It gets called back. And that seemed to really defeat them for a little while. And then they give up late as well. And they lose 5-1 in this one. And Graham Potter now has a lot of work to do going into the final game. Because in the other match of the day, Japan basically matches the goal differential issue, and they win 4-0 over Tunisia. So they get the +4 goal differential to equal the Netherlands. They're able to surpass what Sweden did as well to push themselves up into the group. And of course, the story around this one was that Tunisia was the first team in World Cup history to appoint a new manager coming out of the first game of a World Cup to still have a possibility. And guess what? Japan did not care. They scored in the 3rd minute of this one. They came out flying in this match and very much made a statement of like, we were a dark horse coming in. It took us 25, 30 minutes to get there against the Netherlands. We're not going backwards.
And you saw it at the end of the game. Minute 90th, winning 4-0, and they were still running and engaged. Like the game was 0-0, minute 1. It's kind of sad that Japan is not full strength. You were mentioning yesterday.
They're missing 3 starters.
Yeah, 3 stars, and probably arguably out of the 3, 2 of their best players.
Right, in Endo and Matoma.
So, Japan is a team that it's obviously their strength is their discipline, and they're going to give effort all the time. Now, the issue is Japan is that gap between discipline and talent. How far can it get you?
Yeah.
But like you said, taking out the first half against the Netherlands, I think this is the team that's looked the best in this group, maybe, probably.
Yeah, I would agree. Keito Nakamura, who plays at REM, so he's the only player in the Japanese team who does not play in a first division in whatever country he plays in. I think has been the best player on the team. He scored the opening goal against the Dutch. He sets up the opening goal in this game. He's played at that left wing back position. He has supplied a bit of what they lost with Matoma, which is breaking the system, taking guys on, playing outside of what is a really well-worked group. And his athleticism is off the charts. And just his pure desire to just crush defenders' souls and go after them has been huge. And then Ritsu Doan on the far side, opposite of him, is always going to be a threat and always going to be dangerous. And that lets Ueda, it lets Kamada, it lets these guys underneath know that they can make the right runs and they can make near post runs hard. They can drop back for pullbacks because they know opportunities will be there. And huge for Japan to see Ueda get the 2 goals because he's probably the one guy up top who's going to create chances for himself. And if he's putting them away, it really simplifies the group below that. One huge note, Kubo, unavailable for this game. There are reports that he will be out for the group stage. So that's really worrying because he was one of the attacking talismans when you take away the 3 guys we named who are off the roster because of their injuries, who this team was hoping to rely on. On the other side for Tunisia, all right, time to go home. There was a quote from one of the Tunisian players post-game, I can't remember who now, where he apologized to the fans. And then he said, one of the issues with us is we don't build. We tear down and we recreate consistently. And I think one of the things he was pointing to was the new players that have been brought into this team very quickly. And this is a convo we're probably going to have coming out of the group stage for a lot of countries, which is, especially the ones that are trying to recruit dual nationals, it's fine if you get them to play and they want to be a part of it. The problem is after you qualify, now everyone wants to play. You really only had one window of games. And so you're trying to integrate new players into a group that's already established. And it seems to have backfired for Tunisia from a culture and connection point of view. And just some of the moments for this team where there's no runs, the game is empty, people are in the wrong place. Like, this looks like a team that has never played together.
Yeah, and also reports say that the appointment of Hervé Renard is also, I don't know how long, but it's supposed to be a longish
Yeah.
solution
Yeah.
to put some of the structure and build that this program needs.
Yeah.
A person that knows the area, knows that culture. And if I'm not mistaken, he's going to sign until the next
Right.
World Cup. So Tunisia, you can make a case, as of now, has been the worst team in the World Cup.
Yeah.
By numbers, by what you said, but what you see on the field, by eye test,
Right.
by numbers, by everything. Because
Them,
we thought it was
Turkey, and
Curaçao,
Haiti.
but after what Curaçao did yesterday.
Them, Turkey, and Haiti are the three that have been eliminated, and they've got a negative 8 goal differential. Oh, we'll get to them in a minute. Don't worry, because they actually come back in here. They get connected once again. So, reminder, we are now, for all the teams that are playing their second games, entering the last group stage games, which means the final games will be played simultaneous. If you look at the schedule, for the most part, it's 3 game windows a day, 6 games a day to close out the group. And then obviously, head-to-head is the number one tiebreaker, but goal differential will be a factor in a bunch of these groups, the way things are lining up. Let's go into Group E now and talk a little bit. We've got Germany, we've got Ivory Coast, we've got Ecuador, we've got Curaçao. Germany currently sitting in first place, massive goal differential because of the victory over Curaçao. So Germany has clinched a spot in the knockout rounds for the first time since 2014 when they won the World Cup. They did not get out of the group stage at the last 2 tournaments. This is a nation that had never missed out on the group stage. The lowest point of this country's history on a soccer side, because there's a lot of other low points over the last 100 years, was 02 to 04. They DOS rebooted. They went to the 02 World Cup final and 04 Euros. I think they were a semifinalist or at least a quarterfinalist. That's the worst thing that had ever happened to this country. Then they win the 2014 World Cup and they proceed to become a laughingstock on the international scene for about a decade, and now potentially coming back around. And this game against Ivory Coast, in my book, is one of the 3 or 4 best games of the tournament so far. It was end-to-end. Both teams had ideas. Both teams had their segment of play. I thought the crowd was on top of it. I thought it looked great. But it was very German, right? They hung around. They did enough. And then they had the cold-blooded killer up top, Miroslav Klose-esque, Lucas Podolski-esque, to just get over the line. And that was Dennis Undav in this one.
I thought this game was great, awesome, but kind of weird. And I thought Germany was fantastic, phenomenal on the first 20 minutes, just before the water break. Nemencha and Pavlovic, especially Nemencha, were covering the whole field. Unbelievable game. But we're starting to see the things that might doom this German team. The final third, it's an issue. And you're going to say, well, they scored 7 against Curaçao. But no, against stronger competition, we saw that Germany on up front, at least by the choices that Nagelsmann has picked, which is Sané, Wirtz behind Havertz, and Musiala. It's a collection of talent that is not clicking, right? And we spoke off camera a little bit about this. When Nagelsmann took over, and I saw it because they play a friendly here in the U.S. against the USMNT. It was, I believe, the first window of Nagelsmann as German coach. He was using Havertz as a left wing that crashes the box a lot. Like kind of Havertz we were seeing in Arsenal at that point, with Stalemate or another option up top as a true number 9, and then Musiala on the right. Now we're seeing Musiala move to the left with Sané coming on the right, and then Havertz playing that false 9, right? So I thought Germany was great, trying to control the game, trying to control the tempo. But the final touch, the final third was an issue. And then the water break comes, the hydration breaks comes, and immediately at the restart, Ivory Coast gets the goal, and you're sitting there, and I was thinking, okay, we got another Ivory Coast, Ecuador here. Now Ivory Coast is going to drop, and it's going to be all Ecuador, in this case, all Germany, just trying to find the equalizer, and I think that's what we saw. But I was extremely impressed with Ivory Coast and what the midfield did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 5 changes to the starting lineup for Emerson Faye in this Ivory Coast team, who, by the way, has now changed hydration breaks because the coach ran back and went to the bathroom and came back out right as it ended. So you don't have to worry about coaching and how it could affect the games. It really is just a bathroom break for those guys. But 5 changes to the starting lineup. Christ Ulai, the 20-year-old center midfielder.
Oh, my God.
Incredible
20
in this
years
game.
old.
Ahmad steps into the starting lineup in place of Torre on the right wing, which I think was also another interesting move because I thought that part of the attack was okay in the first game. And then Boney steps in as that center forward. We talked a little bit yesterday about the match fixing charges and the arrest and everything that's happened for Ivory Coast with YA. And so it made sense to start Bonny. Also, he just declared. So this is a guy where you don't know how he fits into the team. I thought he was great in this game. I thought his hold-up play was really, really impressive, especially because I thought he actually advanced the attack. A few times he got the ball isolated, and that's where you normally expect a center forward. Remain facing your own goal, hold up as long as you can, lay off to someone running onto you, lay off to someone behind you, reset the attack. He actually was able to turn, get into the attacking third, and allow everyone to come up behind him. And Yan Diomande he's just a factor. Like, he was bullying Joshua Kimmich. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Kimmich is one of the, not best, right? He is one of the 10 or 20 best soccer players on the planet. He's a genius. He can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
He is the embodiment of everything the German
He's
structure.
like Philipp Lahm 2.0.
Yeah, he's everything that they have built. He's 31 years old. He's a Bayern Munich player. He has won everything in the world. And Yan Diomande is bullying him in the corner. There's one play where Diomande overplays. He saves it from going out, and Kimmich goes, and Kimmich takes it, and Diomande like baits him into taking another touch so he can come in and steal it away. That's the stuff he was doing to NPSL guys 2 years ago. Not the best, one of the best players on the planet. So I thought he was phenomenal. I thought Kesse ran the midfield for large stretches of this game. And I thought Ivory Coast played a really, really strong game.
Yeah, I agree.
But as you said, Germany makes the changes. Undav comes in. I think part of it is Wirtz just doesn't have the pop, and it's what we saw with Liverpool coming off the injury. And so he doesn't create for himself 1v1. So all he really can do is create for others.
Yeah.
Undav coming in just gives him another player to create for, another option to pass to, turns him into more of a 10 than an attacking winger who's trying to take guys on in space. And listen, guy scores goals. Here's the numbers right now. 3 goals and 2 assists in 56 minutes for Undav. 25 goals and 14 assists in 46 games across all competitions. 19-6 in 29 Bundesliga matches. This is one of, and this feels, again, very German, of like star turn at the end of your career, right? Not at 22 years old, but like one of the countries where all of a sudden guys figure stuff out. We saw it with Fulkring, right? Where he had, all of a sudden he was the starting forward for way late in his career.
Yeah.
This just is like, and if you're Nagelsmann, ride the hot hand. You're not saying he's the starter in 4 years. You're not saying he's the future of the national team. I think he has to start. If you want to push Havertz out wide, that's fine. Sane should not be starting on this team. That feels very clear.
That's exactly what I was going to tell you. I think it's pretty clear what Nagelsmann needs to do. You take out Sane, right? You move Musiala to the right side. You put Havertz on the left. You play Wirtz as a 10. And then you have Undav up top. Yeah. That's the best German has looked. Of course, we're talking about the last 30 minutes of games where the other team is not necessarily following the initial plan, right?
Yeah.
Or they're not expecting some of the movements, or they're not prepared for some of the subs. But like you said, it's the World Cup. It's a tournament. You need to win, right? And we saw historically on the World Cups, players that were no names. And we can go back to the 90s. I'll give you 1990, Toto Esquilaci. He was basically a journeyman, a guy that was at the sunset of his career, and then he exploded, and after that he did nothing else.
Right.
Like at that scale, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And he won the Golden Boot in 1990. And he was a okay player. He played at Juventus, but you
Right.
got to ride. But Italy chose to ride him all the way until they made third place. They lost to Argentina in semifinal, but I think that's the point that you can, because people will, I think what some fans have trouble, I don't understand sometimes, or like, even if you follow the team or just like a casual fan, it's like you get attached to names, right? And then people that don't follow the German team say, Undaf, who's this guy?
Yeah,
where does he play, right? Why is he playing over Sane? Sane plays at Bayern Munich. It doesn't matter. Again, we go back to what Thomas Tuchel did in England. It's not an all-star team.
Right.
It's a team that is the best team that you can put that works as a team on the field. So I'm very interested to see what Nagelsmann does on the
And so
next
Germany has clinched first place in the group. So for them, they don't have anything to play for in the third game. So he has the option to rotate, give some other people some chances. I will note 2 big things for Ivory Coast. One, I thought they played awesome. They are clearly in the dark horse conversation of a team that can make a run to a semifinal. This is a group that should not be intimidated in any matchup. And with the 5 changes, you saw their depth. That's really the big problem for teams that are trying to break through at the international level is, okay, you have a great 9, 10, 11. Do you have the 15 or 16 to, with an additional round of 32 game now, be able to push? And that feels very obvious for Ivory Coast. They do. One big note is Wilfried Singo, who I thought's been awesome in this game, in this tournament. Right back, right center back, had the assist on Ahmad's goal in the opening game. He came off with an injury, which I think would be pretty worrying for this team. And the other is the miss from Simon Adringa. Nicolas Pepe breaks out in the 90th minute, turns his man, turns back the clock. This is a guy now running at full speed, attacking the German back line. He cuts inside. He plays it onto Adringa's foot. And it's a first-time shot from 8 yards out. If you just put it to the far post, it's a goal. And he takes a touch, and the German defense is able to close on him, and Germany goes back and scores the winner. That's the gaps. And I can tell you, and everyone in my hotel can tell you, I thought he should shoot because I was screaming at the TV to shoot the frickin' ball. But it's just one of those things where it's the biggest moment in his life, and he doesn't want to make a mistake, and he overthinks it, and he makes the mistake. And we have someone in the comments here on the live show, which I respect, which is he thinks that I'm overrating European and South American teams, that this isn't the South America that we grew up with, that these teams are not as good. That's totally fair. But we've said over and over again, there is just no history of beating these blue blood teams at these tournaments. And as bad as Germany has been, they work their way through into knockout rounds. And as bad as a Spain can be, as bad as a France can be sometimes, they always find ways to get over the top. And this game was like the example of that, where Ivory Coast was the better team for large stretches. Ivory Coast had the plan. Ivory Coast played on the front foot, and they freaking lose 2-1 in this game.
There's a saying in I don't know if it's coming from England, but I heard it. I used to hear it in Venezuela a lot when you play soccer, and they will say, I think it came from England, that soccer is a simple game. It's 11 guys versus 11 guys, one ball, but at the end, Germany always wins.
Yeah, Germany wins in penalties, I think. I think it's a Gary Lineker line, actually, but I'm not sure.
I think it came from somebody in England. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see what Nagelsmann is going to do, because I think we all believe that Germany is one of the, if not tier one.
I did not believe that, and
if not tier one, you can safely put them in tier 2.
They are a team who, when they step on the field for every game at this World Cup, they will believe they should win, and they have a right to believe that. I won't believe it,
they have the
though.
quality.
Yeah, I just won't believe it until we get a little bit further. I want to talk about that game because, again, I thought it was one of the best. But also, we can't miss out on the other side of Group E, which was Ecuador against Curaçao. The first ever World Cup point for Curaçao. The smallest nation at the World Cup, 150,000 population. Eloy room, 15 saves. It ties the most for a single FIFA World Cup match without extra time. It's one behind Tim Howard, who did it in 120 minutes against Belgium. That one, of course, was in a loss in 2014. And Ecuador poured every single thing they could at this, and Uruguay stood up big. Let's talk Curaçao first, then we'll get to Ecuador, because I know you're as frustrated as I am. But this is the beauty of the World Cup. One, with the third-place team set up, Ecuador is probably not going to go through, but they still had something to play for coming out of a 7-1 loss, and a 7-1 loss that I think all of us felt wasn't really indicative of the quality level and the competition. And they come into this one, again, fully committed, fully locked in, not the World Cup's over, we're moving on, we don't want to be a part of this anymore. You saw Curaçao man in the crowd, covered in blue, crying at the end of this game. We had Eloy Room on this show to help us preview all the countries, talk about, he was one of the 2 first recruits by, at the time, Frank Rijkaard, to come as a Dutch-born Curaçao native player, descendant player, to come in. And he's done a lot of the recruiting since then, bringing players over. I don't think it's a coincidence Jurgen Locadia is playing in Miami where Eloy Room's playing. He's done a lot of the work to build this team. He talked about it. And I think he has kept his career going to reach this point. And he would probably say, coming off yesterday, that it was worth it.
I think 155,000 people, it's Curaçao's population. It's incredible, right? And this is the biggest fear that we had coming to the 48 team World Cup, right? That Curaçao were gonna repeat every game what we saw in the first one against Germany when they lost 7-1, and it's pretty remarkable. And it's a statement of treasure the moment, right? Because after you lose 7-1 your first game ever, and you are viewed already pre-tournament of one of the teams that don't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when you talk from South America or for Europe. I mean, how many Italians pre-World Cup were saying, me included, because I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, or people in Peru, to give you an example from CONMEBOL. Like, oh, we're not in the World Cup, but Curaçao is in the World Cup, Cape Verde is in the World Cup, Haiti is in the World Cup. What is this?
Yeah.
It's a sham.
Yeah.
So,
and then those teams have went and gotten results against teams that you're incapable of getting results against.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I'm most, and take out what we saw on the field, what I'm most impressed by is, again, treasuring the moment and living the present of 7-1 against Germany. That happened. It's done. We have 2 more games. This is what we've all dreamed of for our whole life.
Right.
We are representing a country that has no business in paper being here, of that nobody thought that this will ever happen. Even if you tell me that the World Cup is going to be 96 teams or whatever number you want to be, you never think of Curaçao of one of those 96 teams that can make it. So coming back from that defeat and responding that way against a good, really good CONMEBOL team, I think it says a lot about the mentality, the work, and understanding the moment that, probably our tournament, most likely our tournament is over after the 7-1 defeat, but we're going to make the best out of what is left.
And they are going to be in the middle of the pack when it comes to the teams that finish at this World Cup, no matter what happens, because they picked up a point.
Yeah.
They're not going to go winless. They're not going to go without any sort of result in that side. Now let's go to the other side with Ecuador. The frustration that lives. And I said Turkey would come back up because Ecuador has now surpassed Turkey with a higher XG, but less, obviously no goal scored in this tournament already. They hit the post 3 times against Ivory Coast. They had a number of huge opportunities. They had a number of huge opportunities again in this game. This was a story we talked about coming into it. Ecuador is one of the best defensive teams on the planet, and you saw most of that play out once again. And they have an inability to score goals, and it's a real struggle for them. And it was the story in qualifying, and it is now once again the story at the World Cup.
Ecuador, listen to me. Look at me. I believe in you. He believes in you. Football Manager believes in you.
Yeah,
on
the simulation.
On the simulation, you got Ecuador in the final.
Twice.
If Ecuador, I made a joke yesterday. It's like, can we do a GoFundMe in Ecuador to find like a striker, center forward or something?
Leo Campagna.
Hey, where are you? Campagna would have had already 3 goals in this World Cup if he played for Ecuador. They're great everywhere on the field. Great.
Even the quality of chances they create are really
Defensively,
high.
they're world class. Their center backs played as starters in PSG and Arsenal.
Yeah.
World class. Moises Caicedo is one of the best center midfielders on the planet. World class. You can score. And again, this is an issue that goes back to qualifiers. And I was listening yesterday to Alex Aguinaga, arguably the best Ecuadorian player of all time, alongside Ener Valencia. I don't know. I'm not Ecuadorian.
Edson Mendes, Antonio Valencia.
So at least Alex Aguinaga is very well known in our circles and here in Latin America because he's one of the best foreigners that ever played in Liga MX, especially with Necaxa. And he's working for our friends at Football de Primera. The radio, the Andrés Cantor radio in Miami. Football de Primera? Yeah, Football de Primera, yeah. So he's one of their analysts. So I was listening to him post-game, and he was harsh. Yeah. Saying that this is a best generation that they have ever had, and it's a lost generation already. I don't think that's... I mean, they're still very young, so I think they have another cycle.
That's the part that I think is a little overstated.
Yeah, but... And I understand now that the coach is taking all the arrows and all and all the shots. That's fine. And he gave a stat that surprised me a little bit because before losing to Ivory Coast, they had a 19-match winning streak. But out of the unbeaten. Yeah. 19 games without losing, including the Commonwealth qualifiers. But out of the 19, I think the number is 9 of those were 0-0s. Yes. So there's clearly an issue. And I understand again that because he was taking issue with the coach and the tactics, but come on.
Yeah.
This is on the players.
Yeah.
This is on the players. This is on the strikers and the players making their choices on the field. It's incredible that this team hasn't scored in 2 games.
So the only thing I'll put on the coach, and anyone who follows me on Blue Sky will know that I feel this. Preciado, who plays that right wing back, I'm not just that he hit the crossbar. He was a difference maker when he came in the game, and I thought Yeboah was not at that position, and I thought Yeboah gets lost in the game.
And he left Estupiñán on the bench on the first game, which I thought it was a mistake.
And Estupiñán was great in this game, especially because he'll come inside when no one else does.
Still,
yes, the chances were there.
Quality all over the place,
and it fell for Ener Valencia twice. The part that I find hard about throwing it on Ener Valencia is like, he shouldn't be there. It's not his fault. He's still the best center forward in the pool.
I agree.
That's on everyone else. It's on the guys like a Kentry Paez who are supposed to now be ready to step up. It's on Plata. It's on all these guys to step up and be a little bit better in those big moments and push him out of the team. That's the only part I put on the coach. On the streak with this, one of the things to remember about CONMEBOL is Ecuador finishes on 29 points in qualifying. The 4 teams behind them finish on 28. So Ecuador was 1 point from being tied in that group, 2 points from falling into 6th. Mm-hmm. And all those ties, so they finished with 8 draws, which were all 0-0s, got them over that line. They scored 14 goals in qualifying.
In 18 games.
4 of them were at home against Bolivia. Mm-hmm. You take that one game out, that is 10 goals scored
in 17
games played. And when you go back and look at it, there's one game, I think it was home to Paraguay. They win 2-1 on a 94th minute goal. I mean, this is how they play. They got one to fall over the line in most of the games. You go back and you watch, and I went back to remind myself this morning, they score in the 25th minute against Uruguay at home. They're able to hang on. Like, they get one, and then they sit in and they protect it. They haven't, and they should have against Ivory Coast had the one. They hit the post 3 times in the first half. They should have against Curaçao gotten the one. Then they would have played their game states. And the worry now is the longer it goes without getting that one, the tighter you get.
Well, now you play Germany and have to win.
Yep. And this becomes a must-win game for them. Let's take a look at the standings here, Derek, as we said before. But so now Ecuador goes into this final game. Ivory Coast plays Curaçao. Both teams have everything to play for. So no one is crazy rotations in this one, except Germany. So for Ecuador, they go into this game. If they get a victory, they lock themselves in probably on 4 points because they'll be on 0 goal differential for at a minimum 4 points. That's probably enough to get through. If Curaçao is able to go out and get a victory over Ivory Coast, you've got a shot still at getting second place in the group for this Ecuador team. So it's still everything to play for this side. You feel it, when a team finds it so hard to score, you can feel it coming off of them. You feel the desperation and you feel the worry. Okay. Big set of games yesterday, which was fun. We've got another set coming up today. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow. I just want to shout out Mike Raj in the chat who said the Undav taker.
Oh, that's a great nickname.
For a nickname for Dennis Undav
Great
coming
nickname.
off the bench. Speaking of the teams that struggle to score, Spain opens up our day against Saudi Arabia. That one at noon in Atlanta. So for Spain, they're base camped in Chattanooga, which I think is about like an hour drive from Atlanta. They've now played their first 2 group stage games there. So a really comfortable setup for them. Obviously, Lamine Yamal comes off the bench late in the last game, so you assume he's available for more minutes. And of course, Saudi Arabia coming out of their 1-1 draw against Uruguay. Then we jump over for the day's schedule into Group G action, Belgium versus Iran and New Zealand against Egypt. Those are both out on the West Coast. And then we will finish the day like we did yesterday, coming back into Group H action with Uruguay facing off against Cape Verde, who are one of the darlings of the tournament. Let's start with this Spanish national team. Obviously, a ton of disappointment coming out of the first game. This is a Saudi Arabia team that historically has put on some big upsets with the win against Argentina last tournament, and then, of course, the draw against Uruguay. I thought for Saudi Arabia, once they scored, they were completely out of this game. And the assumption is Spain will have 70% possession at least in this one, and it just comes down to, like we just talked about with Ecuador, can you find the chances? Can you create goals?
A lot of discourse and debate in Spanish media and fans. They were not happy with the lineup choices that pregame, and then obviously after what happened postgame
makes it easier.
And it got the flames got even higher for Luis de la Fuente. Spain hasn't win a game in a World Cup in the last 4, which is insane.
That's insane.
Since they won the World Cup.
Yeah. In 2010, Mexico and the U.S. have more wins than Spain. And the U.S. didn't go to 1. Yeah. That's
and
wild.
I think Mexico, more than doubles Spain. Spain has 2 and Mexico has 7 already. It's unbelievable. But anyways, so big changes are expected for Spain today. Lamine Yamal from the get-go. No Gavi, who played out of position. He played as a left wing, a position that he's never played. And
so you think Dani Olmo comes into the team?
Dani Olmo comes into the team, and probably Nico Williams.
Yeah, who would be a huge addition to this
So it'll be
group.
Nico Williams as a left wing. Yeah. Obviously, Lamine Yamal on his right wing. Mikel Oyarzabal up top. Dani Olmo coming to a midfield alongside Rodri and Pedri, and the backline will stay intact with Cucurella, Laporte, Cubarsi, and Llorente. But yeah, I think a lot. I've never seen this. Spain is kind of similar to Mexico in the sense of the media and fans can be very inflammatory.
Yeah,
and probably the most of any European teams. So, yeah, Luis de la Fuente and Spain are in a kind of a hot seat. Because they need to win today, obviously. And Saudi Arabia, I'm not saying it's a rough rival, but we've seen that Saudi Arabia can make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, and they'll be committed to the way they play. They'll be committed, I think, as a group. Obviously, they'll be extremely emboldened off the Uruguay draw. Mohamed Al-Owais, the 9 saves against Uruguay. So it was a huge moment for him, and obviously a record performance for Saudi Arabia. The changes you talked about, though, Nico Williams flanked across from Lamine Yamal was what got them to that Euro final last tournament, because you couldn't overload on one side, because Nico Williams is a game breaker himself. And Dani Olmo, the reason is the first name I think that comes up for many people, is he just plays a little bit more direct. Like his background is not as tiki-taka as most of the players in the Spanish national team. And if you're looking for a change of pace, he has it in him with his upbringing in Croatia and then the styles he played in Germany. And I think this is a Spanish team that needs a little bit of that right now because they are not at the peak of their powers in the way they want to play. Let's move on to the next game in this group that will close things out, which is Uruguay finishing things off for us against Cape Verde. And obviously for Cape Verde, this comes off this massive point in the opening game and the celebrity that has come with that, the celebrations inside their country, the celebrations internationally for what they've done and what they can be. And now they got to turn around and do it again. And I think this is the part we're going to learn for a lot of these teams in this tournament where they've got a real shot now is how do you handle the success?
And how do you handle, in case of Uruguay, the choices that Marcelo Bielsa has to make? I feel bad for Uruguay fans because honestly, every time I listen or watch or talk anything about Uruguay, they all sound and look miserable.
Yeah.
Like Marcelo Bielsa,
Post 2010, it's been a weird stretch for them.
he's not even like looking up on the pictures on
Well,
the,
he's
on
stuck
the
in
press
a
conference.
capitalist.
Yeah, but yesterday in the press conference, he's like looking down,
Yeah.
speaking and complaining about everything.
Yeah.
So I think they have a massive, or he has a massive choice to make. What do you do with Darwin Núñez? He was awful, and then he got subbed.
Yeah.
And Agustin Canovio came in. The team looked better. Obviously, the circumstances changed because you had a Saudi Arabia team that had already scored, and they were basically just sitting back. So it was predictable that it was going to be Uruguay all out and putting numbers forward. But this Uruguay team obviously doesn't have the depth up front that past Uruguayan teams. Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
Diego Forlán, etc., etc. So you have the option of playing Federico Viñas, ex-America player. He's not a number 9, so he can play as a false 9. So we'll see. Marcelo Bielsa always has some curveballs of his sleeves. So I'm gonna. This is the team that I'm paying more attention because Uruguay is your typical forever and ever dark horse.
Yeah.
That can easily make a run to semifinal and can easily lose,
fall out
and lose
stage.
to Cape Verde tonight. So we'll see. But talking with people that follow the team and they're Uruguayans, Vice are not good.
Yeah.
They don't trust Bielsa. They think their players hate Bielsa, and that's a problem. And that's why, for example, Luis Suarez is not on the team.
Right.
He fall off with Bielsa, then he apologized, and Bielsa said, "Too late. You're not welcome anymore." So Vice are not good.
No. The one name I'd add in is Rodrigo Aguirre, who was at Tigres this year and helped lead them
ex-America too, yeah.
But isn't a player you'd say is a Uruguayan starter at a World Cup. But if he gives you the right work positionally, he is a true center forward. Maybe there's an option there to sneak him in, and it just helps everyone else play a little bit better.
Dirty work and open spaces for the wingers.
But let me tell you who is doing pretty well right now. All of the people, because I was looking at the bracket as well for something else, all the people who had tickets for Uruguay, Spain to close out the group stage and Colombia, Portugal to close out the group stage, where they thought, oh, both teams will win both games, and so it won't mean anything. I think at least one of those games is in Miami, because I know people who have tickets for it. Is the
Colombia, Portugal is in Miami.
I don't remember where the Spain-Uruguay game is. I guess I could look it up right now since I'm sitting here looking at these teams. But people who had tickets for those games, they are feeling pretty good. Oh, that one's in Guadalajara, Spain-Uruguay. That is going
Colombia,
to be...
Portugal in Miami, it's going to
be wild. It is going to be
insane.
Wild. Yeah. It comes off Scotland, Brazil in Miami as well. So they'll drink all the beer, and then everything will be yellow for a while, and the water will be permanently there. Okay. Let's finish things out with Group G here and then get everyone out of here on a nice little Father's Day. Belgium faces off against Iran at 3 p.m. Eastern time in LA. So a reminder, Iran not allowed to stay over for 2 consecutive nights in the U.S. right now. They are training in Tijuana. They traveled in the day before the game, as they did for the last set of matches, or the last match against New Zealand. That one in LA as well. So a return to the same stadium, a return to the same setup. The Obviously, massive fan base that will be there in favor of Iran. We heard it at the last game. We heard it at the anthem. We heard it from everyone who was around. That is all going to be a big part of this game. And then for Belgium, underwhelming performance against Egypt. They go down early. They struggle to create chances. Romelu Lukaku comes off the bench to help. There is, I don't want to say controversy because I don't believe it's controversial inside the group, but there is noise around the fact that Jeremy Doku has stated that his partner is expecting their first child in the beginning of July, and his plan is to be there for the birth, whether they're currently in the World Cup or not. It led to a French reporter saying that she felt that was ridiculous and he shouldn't be there, and then that's led to a whole thing. I'm pretty sure everyone in the Belgium camp is intelligent enough that they don't actually think that's a story, and that's just something people outside are doing. But I would like to state that I think it's pretty okay for you to go be at the birth of your child as a human being in the world. Either way, they need more from Doku in this game, and that should be the focus for this
He's
team.
doubtful, actually.
Yeah, I know.
He has a
Illness,
virus. Yeah, he's the game changer, right? Alongside Kevin De Bruyne. And we're expecting to see Romelu Lukaku from the start today. We know what Lukaku is, how much of a physical presence he is in the area, the way he connects, because he's the complete package, right? He's the typical number 9. He can be your target.
He's the complete package who, at the highest moments, will probably let you down.
Yep.
And up until that moment, he is the right player.
Yes.
And in the group stage against these teams,
correct,
he is the right player.
Correct. I'm expecting a comfortable win from Belgium today, with Lukaku scoring multiple goals.
If Doku's unavailable, I assume De Ketelaere will just slide out wide, or they'll play quote-unquote two up top.
De Ketelaere.
Yeah. And then Lukaku will enter in at the starting lineup. If not, then the question becomes who comes out of the team. I think one of the issues with Trossard is he doesn't hold wide, and there's not a ton of width from the fullbacks.
Yeah.
And it condenses the game for them. But they are not good enough when they're condensed to then make it worthwhile with quick combinations. And a lot of that's going to fall on Kevin De Bruyne as well, because he has to pull those strings in those moments if they want to do something special. And then for Iran, a lot to deal with in all of this. It clearly took them 25 or 30 minutes to start against New Zealand. And I said it when it came off of it, just the lack of initiative in defending and closing guys down. Felt like a lot of guys who, not only coming off the travel and all the uncertainty, haven't really played soccer, because a lot of these guys' leagues have been suspended. So for Iran, the question is, can you get a little bit better? And you got to look at the group now and say, well, Egypt got a point here. So if we want to try and finish things out, and we don't know what's going to happen because that game's later, New Zealand, Egypt, you got to set yourself up to be in a good spot for Game 3. And that's our final game to talk about here. New Zealand versus Egypt, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Group G in Vancouver will be the first World Cup meeting between these two teams. It will also be New Zealand's first World Cup match against a team from Africa. So pretty much unknown space for these two teams, trying to push and get out of the group stage for the first time in their country's history. For Egypt, there's a lot of consternation I've seen from the media that covers this team about the lack of connection between Mohamed Salah and Omar Marmoush, who are the two biggest players on this team. But through all of that, they picked up a pretty special point in the first game.
Yeah, and it's a game that is going to basically decide who advances on paper behind Belgium, right? Yeah. Both on one point. If Egypt or New Zealand gets the 3 points today, they basically...
on 4 points, you assume you lock a spot in the next round.
At least.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 points. I don't see a scenario where a team with 4 points doesn't advance.
No, the way it's working out right now, it feels like there will be enough teams stuck on 3 that if you're on 4, it doesn't matter your goal differential.
I think there's going to be a couple teams with 1 that are going to advance as a third.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
As of now, there's
we won't know that until the final day.
Of course, but there's scenarios.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Here's a little bracket thing to go with as we close up here. So yesterday, Ecuador's result, they landed on 46% chance to make the knockouts. Scotland dropped 6% for their chance to make it to the knockout rounds. That is the largest drop in World Cup history for a team that didn't play. So basically, because of the third place now, when you're not on the field, your odds are being affected by where that third place line starts to shift. And I think the assumption now is with Germany having clinched and Ecuador picking up the point, Ecuador can move to 4 points and they would jump over a Scotland. So Scotland dropped 6% without ever touching the ball, which maybe isn't a bad thing for them with the way they've played in some of these games. But I think that's really wild, and that's sort of where this World Cup sits.
Well, like we're seeing at the beginning with the bracket, as of now, right now, 10:44 a.m. Eastern Time, the US-70 rival at round of 32 will be Ecuador.
Yeah, which would suck. Yeah,
big time.
That would be absolutely amazing. Football Manager had that in the final, so that would be a tough one to have. But then the flip side is it has New Zealand winning this group, which seems somewhat unlikely. But we'll learn today, because if New Zealand can get a result in this one against Egypt, they would set themselves up for the opportunity in the final game. Everything still to play for in both these groups. We get the second group stage games. We'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got our USMNT preview that we are lining up to get ready for the Turkey game, which, of course, for the U.S. doesn't mean anything, and for Turkey doesn't mean anything. And yet, you only play a World Cup once every 4 years, and for most of the guys on the field, it will be the only time they ever play in a World Cup game, and there's huge opportunity to earn more minutes coming out of this one. So we're going to dig into everything around that. We will, of course, have our post-game live show coming out of that Turkey game as well, and we'll be here every single day, baby. We are talking soccer. We are loving
Messi
the World
plays
Cup.
Tomorrow. Mbappe plays tomorrow.
I will be at the
Haaland
Senegal-Norway game, which is going to be pretty special at Giant Stadium. And, yeah, it never ends. So thank you all for being here. Big shout out to Derek for being here on a Sunday and hanging out with us, for you, for persevering through Metro North, to everyone else, Steve and Mati and everyone helping us on the back end. Happy Father's Day to everyone. We will talk to you again very soon. And as always, no thank you to Connor.